Welcome to Realm IQ Sessions, featuring conversations on AI with AI founders, AI leaders, and experts from around the globe covering the intersection of media, technology, Hollywood, and marketing. Please give us a follow and subscribe. This is our host, Curt Doty.
Hey there, newbies, and those who are AI curious, or maybe you're an AI filmmaker yourself. Anyway, yeah, it's been a while, but we are getting back in the saddle, and we're going to close out our season 3 with a series of really cool interviews that I find most exciting. The series is called CLOWD MASTERS. We talk with leading AI filmmakers from around the world, and yes, it's all about the CLOWD Film Fest now. So, and I don't apologize. These guests are curated either by being one of the many judges, or they are a contestant in the competition, or they're simply doing freaking amazing things with their craft. So for today's interview, we talk with Margarida Barreto. She's a creative partner and creative director at Electric 028 or Electrico 28. Anyway, she's an AI artist, educator, published author, and co-founder of CIA. Not our CIA, but the Portuguese AI community. Come on, she lives in Portugal. So she teaches generative AI to professionals and agencies, focusing on ethics, creativity, and digital maturity. Her work bridges social impact, visual storytelling, and responsible technology, empowering others to understand and use AI with intention. Love that word, intention. So she's also a founding juror for the CLOWD Film Fest. So let's get into it. Margarida, great to see you. How are you doing today?
Hi, Curt. Happy to be here. Thank you so much for the invite.
Yeah.
Great.
Where are you calling in from?
Portugal, Lisbon.
Okay. Well, I think there's been some heat there, right? And hopefully you're cooling off.
Yeah, this week it's a little bit colder,
Okay.
but yeah, I think the heat is coming again.
Okay. Well, listen, thanks so much for joining what we're calling the CLOWD Masters interviews with famous AI filmmakers from all over the world. You actually also are a founding juror for our competition at the CLOWD Film Fest. Thank you for that. You've also been showcased on our website, cloudfilmfest.com, as a showcased AI filmmaker. So thank you for that. I love your work. And I'd love to talk about your AI journey because we share similar backgrounds in terms of being creatives in the commercial world and branding world. And so tell me about your journey and how you grew to embrace it. It's a controversial subject, but you fully embrace it and have become, one of the masters. So tell me that journey.
Thanks so much for the feedback, for the great feedback about my work. Yeah, well, I feel so honored. Well, my background is from graphic design. I have a master's in communication design. I've been working on it since 25 years now. I've been jumping around agencies, spent almost more than 10 years as a creative director in an agency where mainly our clients were mainly from the tech industry. I think that's why very B2B, but maybe that's why I was very always so close to technology because I was always in the need to be seeing what they were doing, what they are launching and know the terms and be in the area. So I think it was very natural. Also have a lot of curiosity about this kind of new things jumping around. So I started as a illustrator, then I jumped into a more advertising component. Then I tried UX. Then I tried and start using more codes and start doing web design too. So I tried everything, and also the accountant in the agency. I was very curious always. And 8 years ago, I decided I wanted to explore even more everything that was happening. So I decided to create my own agency so I could have a little more freedom to engage in this kind of discovery things. And because I started working more for startups, like try different stuff. When back in 2022, I believe, end of 21, something about AI came out. We started to see something in the news. I started reading about it. I was very curious, and because of that kind of freedom that I have because I was working for myself, I saw something that I always say this, but because it's really true, I felt that butterflies in my stomach when I saw that stuff happening.
Yeah.
It was so disruptive of everything that I was used to. The idea of writing something and have an output, an image, a very raw image. Now we look back and see, okay, this was so bad. But at that time, and we have to think this was like 5 years ago, we've came so far, and sometimes we don't put our feet on the ground and see, okay, we are here, but it's only been 5 years. This is an incredible moment we are living with all the ups and downs, with all the negative stuff also around. We have to be conscious about it, of course. But overall, I think it's the most disruptive thing us as human beings have been testifying. So, yeah, in the beginning, I just started to use in my own context. I always loved to draw, but I'm the kind of drawings that I did was like monsters, very sci-fi. So things that I could not embed in my client's work. So it was very difficult.
Right.
And working as a designer in agencies is very difficult for you to have time to do your own stuff. So this was, okay, AI, maybe I can use this to try to create my own stuff more fast, more quicker. And yeah, let's see what it gives to me. And yeah, I started sharing here where I am in Portugal at that time. AI was not a thing. It wasn't something people talked or exposed or shared. So when I started posting, very afraid of posting that stuff, but I was, okay, let's go, let's see. My clients started to be very curious.
Hmm.
And how you're doing this? What is this stuff? Can we try it? Can you do something with it for us? And so it was like a very cool conversation with them, and they were very open and curious about it. And that's how we started implementing in the agency because they really wanted to use it. It was very curious to see that.
Yeah, well, what I hear is this theme of curiosity that's guided your career, and you wanted to dabble in many things based on that curiosity. I believe that curiosity is what keeps creative people like us relevant in the marketplace, so we don't, become irrelevant because we didn't keep up with the technology. And I love the story that your clients were also curious, and through both of your curiosity, you started to develop together. And I think that's a terrific story. I've been a little more dubious about clients and their perception of the use of AI in their solutions because I thought there'd be a race to the bottom in terms of pricing, like a devaluation of the creative contribution that creative directors like yourself provide. How do you maintain that value when the client knows, well, you're doing the stuff so quickly, so you're going to charge me less, right? And that's been many awkward conversations in the advertising community as well as the branding community, and it's been a challenge. But I like your story. I like your story better. It gives us all hope. So based on your client acceptance of your new workflow, do you feel empowered, and are your clients happy with a new level of creativity that you've been able to achieve? Is that the net positive?
Yeah, yeah. I think I believe always that translates also to my personal artwork, but I believe in the hybrid stuff. So everything is hybrid for me, and it's a mix of things. I don't deliver total AI outputs, not at all. And I always try to, because I really like what I do. I really like to create, to design. I love that process. I think one of the parts of being curious about it, it's because I really enjoy having the profession that I do. And that's why I always try to experiment, and not because I'm tired of it, but because I want to explore even more. I want to go further and see what can I bring next to the table, for me and for the clients. And in that sense, I always turn into the classic or traditional way of doing things, because of course it's also where I have all my knowledge too. And I know the limits where to go, but I also know in those limits, where can I use AI to surpass that and to deliver more or better or explore different points of views or new paths. So I have been having clients just because of AI. And I have to say, mostly of my new clients are mainly because of AI.
Mm-hmm.
So, but not just to AI, because I can complement the two ways. So I have, when we need printing stuff, more hard work, I can deliver, but I can also make that mix of the two. And I think that is the way. We, in the design field, we always saw this. I'm from the time that when I went to university, I didn't have a computer on the first year. So I'm used to do everything by hand, the handcrafts. I still think and remember those times with something like it was magical. It was so craft work. Yeah. And I try to, not the end work per se, but I try to still combine and mix techniques, because I think it's in richness, bring more richness to the end project. And I think in the end, some clients do appreciate that. Not everything has to be a rush, or in agencies, we have deadlines and tight deadlines for everything, but sometimes it's also good when you encounter a client or a project that wants to do things right, with the right timing, and with all this combination of tools, and the traditionals and the more techy and modern ones.
Well, that's such a great story. I appreciate your promotion of this hybrid workflow and activity. I've always believed that keeping the human at the center, we've all come from a human-centered design approach. I call it a creative-centered AI approach. And I think, you're always, as a creative, in that driver's seat. This stuff just doesn't create on its own. Someone has to be guiding it, prompting it. But also, with your experience and expertise, the outcome that you want. And a lot of the kind of hackers or hacks that, started to experiment with this really cool platform, the technology, they didn't know the outcomes. They were just amazed by whatever came out, and they put it up on YouTube or LinkedIn and say, look what I did. But then as, creative professionals like yourself started to get involved, all of a sudden you kind of challenged the output, because you know what the outcome needs to be, because you've already been there. You've been a creator, a designer, creative director, illustrator, and you know how things should look. And you're just trying to manipulate a tool to get to the result that matches your aesthetic, right? Your aesthete. And that not only makes the use of the technology better, it makes it more human and makes it more enigmatic, because creativity is enigmatic. There is a magical component to being creative that is hard to explain to others. It is a gift, and you have that gift. And so do you agree with everything I just said? Like, there's a reason why people like you have embraced the technology and elevated the technology, because of who you are.
I agree with everything you said, because that's the same way I think. I think that this part of the enigmatic concept, that for me that is the meaning. Doing things with a meaning, being meaningful with something. And that also translates to the part of the storytelling. I always say, like, I need an agenda when I do my own artwork, because I have my own principles and things that I cherish, and my fights for in a more activist point. So I always try to create something that is somehow passing the story that I want. So for me, that enigmatic part is the meaning that I input into the story. If it's an image, or if it's a reel or a short or a big movie, it's all, and it all comes from experience and context. And that's something that it's human. So again, the human centric part. This all starts with to be meaningful, to really make you stop and see, okay, I want to see this more. It's not just the so-called AI slop. It has to have this memory and lived experience that it's only ours. That's the human part.
Yeah.
That's the
No,
thing that makes you want to create this or that.
I love that. And yes, you're right that, what we all experienced, the journey that you went through was, the first phase was experimentation, right? So let's see what the stuff does, this technology does. And hacks got in there, who didn't have that aesthetic. You got in there. But I think once, we went through this experimentation phase and the technology progressed where AI video really started to perform in an interesting way, that then the real storytellers started to emerge. And then you saw more narratives being posted online and celebrated, and film festivals popping up all over the world where all of a sudden short films made in AI became popular. So that, kind of in the middle of that phase, we're celebrating storytelling. And then as I've talked with various AI filmmakers from literally all over the world, now there's the concern of, how do I monetize this? It's cool. I'm telling stories. I either have a job and I'm doing this as a side hustle to build my own brand or my own aesthetic in the industry, but how do I monetize it? And, there are certain paths. It seems like vertical storytelling and micro dramas are a new path that is monetized through subscriptions and advertising and sponsorship. So that is a path. Some are solely focused on that because AI is kind of taking over the live action part of being able to produce those, because, these companies and platforms want to just flood the zone with content. And, a 90 format of an episode done in AI is a lot easier to do than getting out a whole production crew and hiring actors and all that. So there's a logic in that. I'm hoping that, we stay human with all that and they're writing with human stories and keep the writing human, certainly. But, you've monetized it through your work and your clientele, but there's a whole community of filmmakers who love this technology, who are trying to figure things out like that don't come from a commercial background, but have just discovered they can express themselves in a really cool way. What are you hearing about, or what are your feelings about that whole monetization play?
That's curious because I'm also involved. I've been this week working on a micro drama, a vertical micro drama for like a kind of a new soap opera, if we can say that, exactly in the terms that you were saying. We are in the testing phase. Before this, I was also aware, I think it was last year, I think, there were some people also starting to, before all of this hype, but people were just already seeing, okay, next phase it will be, of course, video. Because there was a time that people were starting to, okay, we came from the Gen AI image hype. Next big thing will be 3D. Everyone was gambling on 3D because of some kind of metaverse. Maybe because at the time Midjourney was also promising they were starting to create something related to that. But the video was the thing that came and stood. And because of that, I think last year, 24, 25, I started to see some projects about things like Netflix, but for AI. So I started to be more attentive to that. Some of them made it to the market. Others are still struggling. Others didn't came out. And I saw that for creators and small filmmakers, that could be a way for them to monetize. My question is, where is the consumer? Who is the consumer of this? It's us that produce this. So it's like a ball, or are there on the other side people that are normal consumers that instead of watching a Netflix video will jump into this? I don't know. I don't have that answer.
Let's take a break.
The CLOWD Film Fest invites AI filmmakers from around the world to submit their short films to an international competition and festival built for what's next in cinematic storytelling. The CLOWD Film Fest will premiere in Southern California the week before LA Tech Week at the Alex Theatre in Glendale, California, for its first annual AI Film Festival event, October 7th and 8th. AI filmmakers who wish to submit their works for consideration should visit cloudfilmfest.com, that's with a W, and at hike.com, that's with 2 I's. So, stop posting and start submitting. The final deadline is August 19th, 2026.
I think the vertical drama market has been established. It's $1 billion business globally. So they've proven they have an audience, and it's a mobile audience, and it's the short attention span theater of doom scrolling. Some people call it joy scrolling at this point, but it's stories. It's based on stories and cliffhangers and common themes of the billionaire or certain types of love stories. And I think at some point that, if it isn't already, that those types of stories will be saturated. And then what is next? And what other audiences are there in terms of people who are on their phone, for 4 hours a day, not watching Netflix, but can there be content that delivers to people who love crime dramas or true crime or dramatizations and more action related and less of the soap operas? And I believe that's true. And so I believe there's an existing audience that can grow based on genre based content. And I think that's the opportunity. And if it's done with AI, oh my gosh, speed to market is there. There can be, a lot of content developed. Again, the consumer will decide, is it good enough? Is the story good enough? Does it hold my interest? Are there good cliffhangers? I think those are all the possibilities. I'm excited about that. I'm also working on a microdrama myself with some friends. And so it's interesting, and there's potential, and it's a new thing. So I support it. I'm in it, and I'm glad to hear you're in it. And it's further validation, right? But it's cool, right? It takes, that storytelling into a monetization mode with an existing audience that already is looking for that content, that's hungry for that content. So that's fantastic.
Yeah,
You
and
don't,
I was thinking, my question is more, I haven't thought a lot of about this, but if I translate this to my idea about all the other things that we do with AI, in the end, I believe people don't want to know at this stage if it was AI or not. It's what it means. Again, it's the meaning, what they feel when they see it. So maybe the type of consumer is the same that already exists watching this vertical drama. So I believe, yes,
yeah, no, again, it goes back to storytelling and
how good it is or not. Yeah.
yeah, and human authorship, an emotional connection that's created through storytelling, which has been not only the history of cinema, but the history of writing. And going back to the Odyssey and Aesop's
Yeah.
fables, right? What is that story? Am I identifying with these characters? Is there empathy? What are the story arcs? Do I follow the hero's journey? Do I identify with that? And so if this new technology can enable and tap into these normal human responses, there's not only is there a market, there's incredible upside in terms of monetization.
And potential for everyone, because you're not up to just, okay, I need this type of camera, this type of studio, budgets, people, anyone with an idea and the pre-knowledge of doing things right. That's why we are starting to see much more well-made movies with AI, because it's not just people relying on the outputs of the creativity of the machine, but it's about people with backgrounds on different areas and knowing what is right or what is wrong to prompt and to ask and to direct. And that's why I think the output, we still have a lot of AI slop, of course, we see all around, but we also are starting to see things that were more difficult to see sometime before. It's people delivering high quality stuff. And sometimes you say, okay, this was done with AI, this is perfect.
Yeah, I believe that this technology in the hands of people with the relevant and kind of qualified backgrounds are going to take it to the next level. Not everyone knows about camera moves, camera types, camera angles, film stock, right? Not that you're shooting film, but you can create a look based on, film stock. 16 millimeter, grainy, 8 millimeter, home movies, you can put those into the prompt and it will handheld, people just don't know those because they didn't study film, they didn't study media, they didn't study art. And so those people who did have all those tools and language to help elevate the platform where, you know, it won't look like AI at all. There's, quite a few filmmakers that are out there that just, their stuff just looks filmic. And so then you get into the story, right? You're not trying to analyze, well, how did they do that? You just accept it and then you connect with the story. And that's the magic of storytelling. The technology fades away and you're immersed in how the story is presented and told. And if it can be innovative through the imagery and the techniques, then it makes it more compelling and interesting because they haven't necessarily seen it before. So I'm excited about all of that. And that's why I'm running a film festival so that we can showcase those people who are leading in that arena, also with the hybrid approach, meaning, what is the human element of your tech stack, right? It isn't just about the tech stack. It's like, well, did you write it? Did you write the lyrics to that music video? Did you write the story? Where does the story come from? Is it a personal story or a historical story? These are the opportunities, and that's the way to interject the humanity from the premise of, hey, I want to create something. What am I going to create? Which is, the blank canvas that many creators face. It's like, what do I want to say? Right. And that's the kind of purpose driven thing that you're talking about.
Yes, definitely. I think you're saying something like the blank canvas. I think all of us have already have that moment, had that moment. But you cannot, in terms of AI, I think you cannot expect to be the machine to deliver every time your idea, because that's not you won't be able to have a continued path doing stuff with meaning again. I reinforce the word meaning because I think it's behind all of this, the meaning, the experience, even the background, the technical and knowledge that you bring. It's your knowledge, is your memories, is the things that you learn, your errors, the things that you know that will come right or wrong. And that is what gives that final aesthetic that, okay, this product, it's from her, it's from him, it's your style. Like when you see a painting and you see, okay, this is from that painter, that's from that kind of filmmaker, you can identify because it's the style. It's not the machine. It's of the author.
Yes.
That's the thing that makes a difference. And I know there's a lot of people copying this and that. That's another problem, but we always had that in design. Many things that I saw that was copycats from others. So this is a human problem, maybe.
Yeah. Well, it's a lack of originality, a lack of vision. And so really, who do you want working on your brand? Someone with vision or someone who's just a copycat? Again, so the more you can, prove your legacy of authenticity, which is another important word in this rapidly changing world, what makes something authentic, right? There's what makes it human, what makes it authentic, what makes it have meaning, what makes it have purpose. These are all questions that should be asked when you start any project, right? And the more successful you are in defining that before you start, the more successful I think your project's going to be, because it will be real. There will be an emotional connection. There will be a human side that people will be connected to. And by checking those boxes, you're on a path to not only elevating the platform, but connecting with an audience that's still skeptical about what's going on with technology, with this technology and storytelling.
Yeah, definitely.
So you've been tracking the technology for 5 years. What do you think is missing? What is a missed opportunity that these technologies should be focusing on? There's a lot of aggregators right now where you go to a platform and you can access all the platforms within one subscription, which is fabulous. That's a kind of a monetary strategy versus a technology strategy. It's a benefit to the users, but what is missing from the technology at this point? What could get better?
Well, I think we have this last few months, because when we say in terms of evolution, I think this is almost daily. But these last few months have a huge leap in terms of impressive results for the video. I think with regarding sedans, it has been like completely outstanding. In terms of tools, I I use a lot of aggregators because I think it's the easiest way to work, but I use a lot because I also do training sessions. So I have also to teach all the possibilities and all the tools available, the pros and cons about them. I see now a direction that I really appreciate and I really like and I feel comfortable is the agents in video. And I feel that in like, okay, this is a workflow or an ecosystem where I feel at home, because I already like that kind of approach when I was using just for images. And I used to work with some platforms that in the beginning started with this kind of agents. And I really was very happy with that, more than working with nodes. That kind of workflows for me, it's like, okay, I like it, gives me different options, but it's not my thing, not the node based, but the kind of agents, yes. And what I lack, maybe, but I think this is a matter of time to get there, is still some control in some things. And I'm talking about video. But again, I think it's not the problem with the platforms. I think sometimes personal, very personal. I'm always in a rush. So I have everything in my mind. I know all the steps to do the thing right, but because I'm juggling between so many projects and stuff, emails and calls, and then, okay, I have this in my mind. And sometimes I think AI already reads my mind, but we are not at that stage. Maybe that's what's missing. It can enters my mind and reads immediately everything. So when I turn into the machine or to the agent or whatever, sometimes I eat some steps. And because I eat some steps, I gave the model enough space to hallucinate. Not hallucinate, but to create something that yeah. And I didn't want him to be creative because the creative person, it's me. I just want you to execute that.
Right.
And yeah, because I failed my step of giving him all the right steps and the references. I also gave him the space to invent. But yeah, this is a thing that I still get some struggles, but I think it's a problem between me and the machine. I believe this happens to a lot of people. Sometimes in the first draft, I did it everything. I skipped one image or one reference. It's enter. When it generates, I see, oh my God, this is so perfect, but it has a lot of errors because I missed that step.
Right. Well, I mean, you're talking about conversational AI with an agent. So not only are you just having a conversation, you're not necessarily even prompting anymore in a traditional sense. You're having this conversation and there's an understanding. Perhaps there's a database that you've uploaded, whether it's text or imagery, into a project. And so the cool thing is that it now can discern when it did something wrong. Like that is not acceptable. I have 3 arms on that person, so I'm going to fix that. You don't even have to say, "Oh, circle this and revise this.
Yeah.
Get rid of the 3rd arm." It's like, no, it's, oh, bad. That's my bad. I'm going to fix that. So keep going. What else do you want to do? And it's this kind of running discussion that I think is really fascinating. In the early days of Mid-Journey, remember the Discord days,
Yes.
where there was no interface. It was all what you put in there and cryptic language around how to get results, or just a code for how to just make things vertical or horizontal or square. And so then interfaces evolved, right? Mid-Journey finally broke off and there was a really cool interface. Adobe's done a wonderful job. Canva's done a wonderful job of interface design to actually, you're just clicking buttons versus trying to write something in order to give it orders. But now this agentic approach has really eliminated the interface.
Yeah.
I'm also a UX designer, so it's like, yeah, what is the future of interface design in the future? And I really believe, well, there is no interface. It's a conversation. And all that is coming true, don't you think?
Yes, yes. And one of the things I was reading this week was like, we are the last generation texting or reading. And I was, okay, this doesn't make any sense. It cannot be true. But then I remember that when you see today younger people, they don't even text the LLMs or in the they talk.
Yep.
So I was, okay, yeah, everything is changing. So maybe in the future we won't have the need to have the context bar to input text. You just be sending images, uploading videos for reference of movements, some maybe audio tracks, and your voice. Yeah, but things are changing very rapidly. Yeah. And it was very important what you were saying about the Discord times back in the days. And I have to say, I really liked the Discord way of doing. I spent so many years doing the images on Discord that still I like that. And it's like a memory, a good memory. But it's unfair to say that things are missing. Okay, things are not perfect, but going back to that time, like when I started the conversation, we are in 2026. We have to put our feet on the ground and look back to 22, seeing all that blurred image that came out on version 2 point something on Midjourney, and see, okay, we came so far in such a few years. So it's almost feels unfair. We're saying that what's missing? Oh, this is not right. Or we are moving so fast. We have to appreciate what's happening.
Yes, what you create today will look quaint tomorrow. And you'll look back not in years of having fond memories of what was possible. It's like it'll be, yesterday this wasn't possible, and today I'm doing it. So, and that's fascinating. It's exciting, a little scary, but it's a white knuckle ride. And I believe that people like you, with your background and expertise, are taking things to the next level. And so I really appreciate your point of view and your philosophy, our shared backgrounds in creative. I also remember taking typing classes in junior high school. So, I mean, where is typing as a skill, right? Let alone handwriting, right? It's like, well, no, you're just going to talk through life. It's like, okay, well, but in any case, that's technology. It's a friend or foe. It's helping us in many ways and empowering creative people, regular people. I like focusing on the creative people because that's my tribe. You're in my tribe. I love having this conversation with you and having you certainly helping us with our Cloud Film Fest as a judge, which is happening uh, soon in August, with the event happening in October. So thank you for that. And is there any parting words or comments or resources where our viewers can and listeners can look you up and interact with you?
Yeah, if they want, they can DM me on LinkedIn. I don't know if you will be sharing something or my link, but
I'll be sharing links, yeah. But if you have an audible shout out, here's your opportunity.
okay, just DM on LinkedIn or yeah, I think it's the easiest, best way to reach me out, or yeah, it's the best.
Okay, cool. Well, that's how we connected. So I'm a big believer in LinkedIn. So listen, thank you so much. Appreciate the conversation and keep up the great work and your advocacy. And, you're truly, I think, one of the leaders in this movement. So thanks
Oh,
for all of your efforts.
thank you so much. It was really a pleasure and an honor to be here and be alongside what you're doing. Also, it's mind blowing. Thank you.
Well, thank you. Hey, thanks so much for catching these special editions of CLOWD Masters. We hope you find these interviews interesting and informative. And speaking of cloud, submissions close August 19th and judging will begin then. Stay tuned for public voting on the Rad TV platform. In fact, go there right now and subscribe to the Cloud Film Fest channel. If you have an AI film or films, you can submit up to 10. And you want to submit, there are 2 links in this post. One to our site, cloudfilmfest.com, and our submission site, which is hike.com. That's HIIKE.com. Our event in October is developing nicely with some panel discussions, screening of all the finalists, an award show, and networking opportunities. It takes place at the Alex Theater in Glendale, California. It is a 100-year-old movie palace that is just gorgeous. I recently visited and saw the renovations that have taken place over the past years. So check out the Alex at thealex.com. And special shout out to Miles Williams, the artistic director, and his full team who are doing a fabulous job for us. Passes will be on sale soon. Okay, so see you at our next Cloud Master premiere. And if you live in SoCal, see you at the Alex in October.
To learn more about Cloud Film Fest, visit cloudfilmfest.com. That's cloud with a W.
Subscribe to our Media Slam newsletter and learn more about the intersection of design, content, and technology. CurtDoty.co. Branding, marketing, and product development.